Joining Dr. Payne are three panelists from our community organizations, notable not only for their years of partnership with Purdue and their commonly as past winners of our Joanne Muller Exemplary Community Partner Award, but for the number, the breadth, and the depth of their Purdue partnerships across colleges and disciplines and in collaboration with so many faculty, staff, and students. Kier Muller is the president and CEO of Food Finders Food Bank, the leading hunger relief organization in North Central Indiana, distributing more than 12 million pounds of food annually with a network of 100 partner agencies across 16 counties. Jason McManus, yes. Jason McManus, president and CEO of Wabash Center, a large local nonprofit organization serving individuals with disabilities across a broad spectrum of ages and abilities. And Monica Ramsey, Vice President of Experience Development and Family Learning for the Children's Museum of Indianapolis, where she leads the creation of innovative and immersive exhibitions and programmings for intergenerational audiences. Thank you all for joining us, and we're excited to learn more about your partnerships.
All right, thank you, Lisa. It's really great to be back. I've worked with so many of the faculty, staff, and maybe some students even in this room, as well as the community partners. And I learned a lot of lessons as the Director of Service Learning. One of them, though, most importantly, I think, was that in order to create these meaningful, reciprocal partnerships that we care about and we want to have impact, we really have to listen to our communities and our community partners. So today we're going to do just that. So I'm going to ask the three of you to just give us a brief overview of maybe what this looks like, some past current projects. So Kier will serve here. Okay.
It's wonderful. We have so many of our partners in the room right now, so it's great to see so many familiar faces. But Lindsey, you and I can work together quite frequently over the years with a bioswale and rain garden redesign at our current Food Resource and Education Center. Dr. Jenny Bay, her English department, they helped us out years ago as we were creating our now 10-year-old food pantry with onboarding resources, volunteer training, all sorts of professional writing that we needed at the time. We've also worked with Dinah Dollar in the dietetics department for more than a decade, where she's provided students for us to help in our education kitchen, to create curriculums, look at our backpack menus, all sorts of things like that. We currently have a couple public health interns working with us this very week, this semester. We just ran the totals. Last year, more than 1,000 volunteer hours were donated by what we were able to track from Purdue students, and that was comprised of about 43 different groups. Student groups, organizations, classes, things like that. And of course, we have about 7 board members that are Purdue faculty or staff as well. And one of the projects I'm most excited about right now is we created an impact committee that we are looking to work to measure all of the wraparound service work that we do, anything outside of food. And so we have Cherise Hall, Dr. Sarah Reichert, Dr. Joe Velantes, you were using somewhat Stephanie Shearer out of education. We have a really great group of big thinkers that are helping us look at how you take this data and make something of it.
That's great. Wow, thank you for sharing it. Jason, you want to provide some examples for us as well?
Sure. I will just start by saying that there's nothing that makes you feel more self-conscious than sitting in a chair in front of a room full of people. I'm also noticing that this is the one chair that probably exacerbates my terrible posture. I'm also noticing that while I do have fashionable dress socks, for whatever reason, I chose not to wear theirs today. Display energy. Anyway, great being here. We have a lot of great relationships with Purdue. I'll start with kind of an easy one. We run a summer camp program that serves over 100 kids with disabilities in our community. It's almost entirely staffed by Purdue students. So we're very appreciative of that. And then just from a partnership perspective, we've been working with the Purdue Ethics Group for over 20 years. They've designed some really cool projects for us, including an augmented reality sandbox, an adaptive cornhole set, which if you've never seen an individual who has challenges with dexterity to cornhole, it's great. It's very rewarding, also a little risky as I saw people, putting the projectile on the launcher and getting ready to shoot it. And then really our deepest relationship has been with the Purdue Autism Research Center. We run an autism clinic. We've been serving kids with autism almost our entire history as an organization. But one of the things that's been really important to us as we're navigating the growing incidence rate of autism is Purdue is a world-class research organization, and it would be foolish of us. In fact, I really believe it's our responsibility as a community partner to work together on complex social challenges like the rise in incidence rate of autism.
Thank you. Monica, how about you?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. It's really great to be here. And I love being able to participate in things like this because I get ideas at every turn. I can't wait to talk to the two of you about your work after this more deeply because I think there are some great connections to our institution as well. We are in the Children's Museum in Indianapolis. We cover the arts, the sciences, the humanities, popular culture, sport. And as such, there's a lot that we connect with Purdue students and faculty on. And the variety is very deep, and we're excited to share more with you. I'd like my colleagues Angelina Moore, who is our Director of Community Initiatives, just to wave, and Gado Julayan, who's our Interactive Technology Manager. We have even more we can share, but just to highlight a few things, that we create interactive experiences, and the students have been really involved in a lot of those. Most recently with our Take It There Peru exhibit, they supported some animation work that we had. Chris Rogers, he's from the Indianapolis campus, the CGT program. We've been deeply embedded with them for many, many years, over a decade, and so it's been really, really wonderful to see them weave in and out of our work. One of the other things they've done that I wanted to highlight was, coming around some research with our staff and others to do some testing on some RFID technology, like on Hembers, and it just is really great to be able to augment and supplement our work. The last project I want to highlight is one of those situations where you just don't know what you don't know, right? And we have problems, we have things we want to get around, and we're able to reach out to our team here and reach out to Virginia and say, we have this issue. And this particular one is our 40-plus-year-old water clock. If you've been to the museum, you know it. It's one of those iconic pieces. And we are building a new maintenance system and manual because there isn't one, believe it or not. And it's aging, and we're trying to figure out how we care for it in our second century, because we turned 100 last year, and Purdue was a great supporter of that as well. So that has been really wonderful to work with Mark French and Therese Neleneski from the engineering school, and Carly Turlo. All of, the three of them just came in with an open mind and talked with our team and came on site, and, we shared how we've been trying to diagnose. They went back and did some great analysis, and we're really just at the beginning of that project. And so it was a great example of, we have a problem, can Purdue be a part of helping us find some solution? And we're excited to be able to come around the table with that then. So come on down and take a look at our work.
So lots of variety just from these three up here. So as you can imagine, there's certainly lots of opportunities. This is the Community Impact Summit. So tell us a little bit more about the impacts of these relationships and partnerships and what it's really done for your organizations, maybe even things you've seen that's happened to the students. Monica, do you want to go first?
Yeah. And, again, just to pick up where I left off on talking about, these particular topics with our water clock, we really were at a loss. We have a ton of experts on our staff, but we really find joy and delight in bringing others to the table in so many different ways. And this is an iconic part of our collection. It's an iconic experience for generations of people who have come to museums since 1988 when it was installed, and who want to make sure that we not only preserve that experience, but we live up to our very important responsibility of holding a collection in the public trust. It is our job to maintain our collection and maintain a collection that is useful to our community. And so by engaging with Purdue, we really were at a loss in many ways. It was malfunctioning. It was to the point of not knowing if we could salvage it, if we could save it. The artist has passed away. We found an obscure article that detailed some information, but we really are starting from scratch. And so to be able to, bring Purdue to the table to help us maintain one of our most iconic experiences at the museum was really critical. And that's just one example of the way it got, again, being able to circle around problems and make sure that our experiences are elevated. And perhaps most important, making sure the students and faculty have that real world connection. I think there's a lot of things that, and perhaps an engineering student wouldn't have imagined that they had done work in a museum, but we can, show that opportunity as well.
Kier, how do you notice?
Well, on a practical level, just helping us keep our operations going. So through volunteer work and service work, but also, it just really helps expand the impact of our team. We only have 35 team members. We serve 16 counties. And so we just have a small staff capacity. So when we need additional research on things like that, it takes a toll on our staff. And so it's great to have the help of Purdue to help us with those things.
Great. So Jason, I'm gonna switch gears for you on this question. So we've talked about all the great things that came out of partnerships, but let's be real, sometimes it's difficult, right? So what are some difficulties you've had when you've been partnering with Purdue and forming those relationships?
Yeah, and you're coming right to me for this one.
Right at you.
Okay. So I would say these are all our partnerships and the processes by which we go about those partnerships. Overall, it's extremely positive. I mean, I failed to mention, and I'm sorry, but our main point of contact at the Purdue Autism Research Center is Dr. Juliana Aguilar, who is up for some award or has been awarded something. She's just been terrific. She's credentialed to provide services in our autism clinic, which really allows her the opportunity to both see things firsthand and be available for instructional learning. And through our partnership and relationship with her, we've had a lot of doctoral students and other folks in and out of the building. And it's just provided such a great opportunity for cross collaboration and learning. And so I think that has such a deep and meaningful impact on the work that we do. Finally, we'll get to your question. I'm so sorry. Finally, we have been engaged in some longitudinal research studies of our population, which, those are things that in the moment, they might not yield anything, but over time, really helping to determine what are those best intervention strategies for young children with autism, et cetera. So very proud of that. So if I had to reflect on a couple of things where maybe it hasn't been 100% positive, and again, that's all relative, but our pace as a not-for-profit organization is so fast, we're constantly being asked to be adaptive and nimble in how we approach things. And that's not always the pace of a university here, right? And so we understand that. For me personally, it's been a little bit of a learning curve. And so now, when we sit across the table and start talking about wonderful ideas and ways in which we can partner for meaningful impact, in the back of my mind, I'm already building in, that there's going to be a little bureaucracy and red tape that we're going to have to navigate together.
Yeah. Hey, I appreciate you, honesty.
Yeah, I think that museums and universities actually align quite well on their timelines, guys. Am I right, Miss Rogers? Right? I think that the reason it works with us is that relationship that we have built. Chris and our team have spent many years getting to know the values and the priorities of each other's institutions. And that's why we all work together. We know that values align. And so when there are challenges, yearbook timelines or anything like that, that's how we're able to, come together. And so we're able to, talk in kind of high levels, what is it that you want to bring to your students? What is it that you want as a faculty member to be able to bring to your practice? And we're able to say, this is what we need for our visitors, and this is how we want to be a part of that workforce pipeline that exists in the university level. And so being able to talk and argue and then see how things come together, we're able to look at those long leaves that work well with our kind of bigger projects, but we're also able to be nimble when we see a quick opportunity as well. And so being able to build that relationship was really critical to navigate the challenges that come up.
Yeah. Okay, Kier, you're probably our longest standing partner here. So how about you? Some of the challenges that you face?
I think for us, I think it's just staff capacity. I can't lead every project, although I want to. And so either having the right staff, what I found that works best for us is I have to limit the number of projects that we take and really looking to make sure it's the right time for us, it's the right scope, the right project at the right time, really. That it's just, it's not having enough staff to make sure that we provide a meaningful experience for every project that wants to partner with us. So we have to say something like, we take 2 to 3 projects at a semester, but the Tiger projects that we get often also fall on the same team. And so, it's just our programs team can't take 10 projects a semester. So we really have to look at what's happening, what's important to us right now, what we're sort of timeline, things like that.
So I'm kind of along that line. I know that when I was working with community partners, they would express that they're afraid to say no to Purdue. Maybe you will go back. I don't know. So did you experience that? And if so, how do you say no? What advice do you have for other community partners now?
Not anymore. I mean, maybe at first you're afraid to say no. And I have to give credit to my predecessor, Katie Bunger. She's really the one that started the work with Purdue because she came from Purdue and understood the great value that there was with that. So it's very much ingrained in our culture now. There's not a day that goes by that we don't have 8 Purdue projects going on. I'm sorry, I forgot the rest of the question.
So how do you practically say no?
Oh, it's like, I just told our staff, I try to wrap them through me so I can kind of have a macro vision of who's working on what at what time. And then we just honestly say, I'm sorry, we're full on student projects this semester.
And pretty simple.
And then I try to refer maybe to someone else, like LTHC or another partner that it might make sense for, but yeah, and Purdue comes back. And Purdue always comes back, yes,
Okay.
yes, of course.
Of your power cube,
Yes, thank you.
So something else that I hear a lot, and I heard a lot, and I still do, is trust, right? Trust is really important in these relationships. And I guess could you share some examples of how trust has built from, early on in the relationships, and then maybe also is it sustained throughout your relationships? Maybe some examples. Monica, do you want to start?
Yeah, Chris, I hope I'm not embarrassing you by talking about how much we work together, but that is the example of the trust, right? He has been at our campus as a parent, but also as a faculty member on a regular basis with many of our team. It's me, it's my predecessor, it's Natalie, it's many other folks to say, what do you need and what are you doing right now? And not necessarily with the intention of how can I make that a student project? How can I do research around that myself? It is that genuine, understanding of our values, of our mission, of the specific projects we have in our pipeline. We talked a lot about our centennial year, which was last year, as a launching point for our second century. We have a lot of big dreams for what we want to do in the coming years, and Chris and Dion and others have been part of that conversation to say, how can we set our institution up for success? How can we set up Central Indiana? How can you make sure we are part of making sure Indiana is on a global platform? How do we all come together to do that? So Chris has always been there. I think another thing that has been really great is that reciprocity and respecting the small bites of things that we can do. He's done video interviews with a number of staff members that kind of creates this library that students can tap into, and that really helps with just being an example of how we can do small things that have big impact and meeting people where they are, both from Chris's perspective to us and vice versa. What is it that we can do? If we can't do a big project right now, is there a way that we can connect with the students in a different way?
Yeah, I really like that example because I think as an instructor, it's really mindful of your time. So you're doing these interviews, there's a library that can be used for a long time, and that it's sustainable as well. So I think that's a nice example. Jason, you want to share some thoughts with us?
Sure. I mean, here's the reality. Some relationships that you have from an organizational perspective are transactional. That's just the reality. And so when you have relationships that are transactional, you get a sense sort of early on, is this going to be a transactional relationship, or is this a relationship that actually has some depth and some meaning behind it? And so I think, for us, especially as we partnered in an autism clinic, Dr. Juliana and her team were there from the beginning, kind of on the ground floor, lending their expertise, being available to access them at any time. Juliana, or Dr. Aguilar, and I have, traveled together for site visits. There's usually a point in time in a relationship when you realize, okay, this is meaningful and it has some real traction. And I think for me personally, in our relationship with the Purdue Autism Research Center, we host a trunk or treat. Like many organizations in our community, we host a trunk or treat. Families from the community swing by, they grab some candy. I stand there and shake some hands and tell people thanks for coming. And I see the yellow card. I'm so sorry. We got the okay, all right. And I'm standing there with my family passing out candy at a trunk or treat, and here comes Dr. Aguilar and her family as well. So that was kind of that moment where you realize this isn't something superficial. This is somebody who's representing the university, who is engaged in the community, not just in the way, what kind of research project can I do or how can I place my students, but no, I value this community and I'm invested.
Very well said. I won't even add to that, but I am going to still maybe 30 extra seconds because I want to know, okay, you have a captive audience. What are opportunities for future partnerships? What do they look like? This is the light ground, security, you're up.
We are in partnership with Feeding America looking at adequacy of service. So how best are we serving our whole 16 county service area? What are the gaps? It really looks like a lot. It looks like gap analysis, public health, logistics, surveying. Those are the types of things that we're looking for that we'll be needing in the next few months to next semester, next year.
Okay, great. Jason?
That bathing didn't stress me out. I'm a ginger. I don't follow the rules.
Okay, I don't know what to say.
So I think just like from a macro level, zooming out, I'm going to steal a turn of a phrase from my friend and colleague, Lindsey Muller, she's the CEO at the YWCA Greater Lafayette. We have such a rich tapestry of non-for-profit organizations in the community that are all working on complex social problems. So maybe zooming out and from the university's perspective and the organization's perspective, what could we be doing together to leverage our academic resources, our research abilities and understanding with practical boots on the ground service delivery? I think that's a real opportunity between the university.
Thank you.
I also stressed out maybe, but I really love this question of we don't know what we don't know. And so really learning what your research is, what your areas of interest are. I love this, point of we are an ecosystem that, connects so many different points of contact, and we could be an intersection of a lot of really great things. So we have, things that are visitor facing, our exhibitions, our programs. We also have a significant 10-year plan to update our infrastructure. Like any campus, our building is 50 years old and a patchwork, and so there is a lot that's happening that some of you may already be aware of. And then not only on our campus, we are out in our community, out in the world, and so Natalie and Angelina and I will be really excited to talk with you all about just those amazing possibilities of bringing the world to Indiana and bringing Indiana to the world.
All right. Give our panelists one more round of applause.